Chapter 5: The Mindset of an Entrepreneur After Finishing College. I enrolled in a traditional business school to pursue my MBA so I could be a trained and educated entrepreneur. I lasted 9 months before dropping out. Needless to say, I did not receive my MBA upon leaving. These days, business schools often invite me to come speak to their students in classes on entrepreneurship. I probably don't need to point out that I sometimes find this ironic. Common questions these students ask me are, how do I find investors, and how do I raise capital? I understand the questions, because they haunted me when I left the security of a traditional job and became an entrepreneur myself. I had no money, and no one wanted to invest with me. The big venture capital firms were not knocking on my door. So what do I tell these business school students? I tell them, you just do it. You do it because you have to do it. If you don't, you are out of business. You do not have to raise the capital to create your business, because that has already been done for you. But you do have to build your business. Today, even though I have enough money, all I do is raise capital. For an entrepreneur, that is job number one. We raise capital from 3 groups of people: customers, investors, and employees. Your job as an entrepreneur is to get your customers to buy your products. If you can get customers to give you money by buying your products, your investors will give you lots of money. And if you have employees, your job is to get them to produce and make you at least 10 times more money than you pay them. If you can't get your employees to produce at least 10 times more than you pay them, you're out of business, and if you're out of business, you don't need to raise any more money. 23 Chapter 5. The Mindset of an Entrepreneur. This is not the answer most MBA students are looking for. Most are looking for the magic formula, the secret recipe, the quick business plan to riches. This doesn't seem to be the answer their instructors are hoping I'll give, either, because I notice them squirming when I say this stuff. Why? Because while they teach entrepreneurship, most of them are not themselves entrepreneurs, which is why they have a steady teaching job with a steady paycheck and are hoping for tenure. My point is not that you have to raise money. In fact, in the business model I'm going to share with you in this book, you do not have to raise the capital to create your business, because that has already been done for you. But you do have to build your business. My point is that this is what defines an entrepreneur. You make things happen. You pull yourself out of the rows of passenger seats. Walk to the head of the bus, and get behind the wheel of your life. What does it take to be an entrepreneur? Entrepreneurs are the richest people on earth. We know the names of the famous entrepreneurs: Richard Branson and Donald Trump, Oprah Winfrey and Steve Jobs, Rupert Murdoch and Ted Turner. But most wealthy entrepreneurs are people you and I will never hear of, because they don't command media attention, they just quietly live rich lives. I often hear people debate the question: are entrepreneurs born or can they be developed? Some think it takes a special person or a certain magic to be an entrepreneur. To me, being an entrepreneur is not that big a deal, you just do it. Let me give you an example. There's a teenager in my neighborhood who has a thriving babysitting business and hires her junior high classmates to work for her. She is an entrepreneur. Another young boy has a handyman business after school. He is an entrepreneur. Most kids have no fear, while for most adults, that's all they do have. It takes courage to discover, develop and donate your genius to the world. Today, there are millions of people who dream of quitting their jobs and becoming entrepreneurs, running their own businesses. The problem is, for most people, their dream is just a dream. So the question is, why do so many fail to go for their dream of becoming an entrepreneur? I have a friend who is a brilliant hairstylist. When it comes to making women look beautiful, he is a magician. For years, he's talked about opening his own salon. He has big plans, but sadly, he still remains small. Running a single chair in a large salon, constantly at odds with the owner. Another friend has a wife who became tired of being a flight attendant. 2 years ago, she quit her job and went to school to become a hairstylist. A month ago, 24, she had a grand opening for her salon. It is a spectacular environment and she has attracted some of the best hairstylists to work there. When the first friend heard about her salon, he said, "How can she open a salon? She has no talent. She is not gifted. She wasn't trained in New York like I was. And besides, she doesn't have any experience." I give her a year and she's going to fail, maybe she will fail. Statistics show that 90% of all businesses fail in the first 5 years. On the other hand, maybe she won't. The point is that she's doing it. She has grasped the impact that courage has in shaping our lives. It takes courage to discover, develop and donate your genius to the world. Of U.S. lottery winners who win in excess of $3 million each, 80% are bankrupt within 3 years. Why? Because money alone does not make you rich. These people may add numbers to their checking accounts, but the mere numbers do not make them rich, because they do not change how they think. Your mind is infinite. It's your doubts that are limiting. Ayn Rand, the author of Atlas Shrugged, said, "Wealth is the product of man's capacity to think, so if you are ready to change your life, I'm going to introduce you to an environment that will allow your brain to think and you to grow richer." What do you want to be when you grow up? When I was a kid, my real dad often told me go to school and get good grades so I could get a safe, secure job. He was programming me for the E quadrant. My mother would urge me to consider becoming a doctor or lawyer. That way you'll always have a profession to fall back on. She was programming me for the S quadrant. My rich dad told me that if I wanted to grow up to become rich, I should become a business owner and an investor. He was programming me for the B and I quadrants. When I returned from Vietnam, I had to make up my mind which advice I would listen to. You are faced with the same choice. One reason you want to create your own business is to get your dignity back. Don't underestimate the importance of this reason. The world is full of bullies and small-minded people, and whether they are your boss, your manager, your neighbor, or even your friend, you don't want them pushing you around anymore. You want to take control of your life. You want to have the courage not to care when other people bully you around. You want to have the freedom to think and act for yourself. A Maserati mind. Now let's ask that question again. Where do you live? Now you can appreciate what shifting from one cash flow quadrant to another means. It's not just a different structure. It's a different approach to life. Yes, it's about the business, but at the same time, it's not really about the business that's only the external form. Putting a horse farmer behind the wheel of 25. Chapter 5. The mindset of an entrepreneur. A Maserati doesn't make him a racing car driver. He needs the skills, the training, and, most important, the mindset of a racing car driver. The same is true of your financial life. You need to adopt the mindset of an entrepreneur. That mindset comes down to this: an entrepreneur is self-determining. One of the beauties of the business of the 21st century is that all the groundwork of the business is already done for you. You make things happen. Which means you don't get to blame anyone or anything outside yourself. Not that you're going to have to do it all yourself from the ground up, like I did with my businesses. No. One of the beauties of is that all the groundwork of the business is already done for you and you get to have experienced leaders committed to your success to guide you. But make no mistake. If it's going to happen for you, you are going to be the one who makes it happen. And for that to happen, you need to have the mindset of an entrepreneur. If you don't, then no matter how good the business is or how great your teachers are, the business is going to have a tough time getting results. The business model we'll explore in part 2 of this book is a Maserati, but you are the one behind the wheel. First and foremost, it's about you. Are you prepared to take the wheel? Do you have what it takes? 20